All right, it's breaking news. This story just came out today. The UN, or the United Nations soldier, says they will soon occupy America, going door to door, taking guns, or shooting to kill. Now, this just came out today on the web, and of course, I can't confirm it. I didn't write the story. I'm just reading it to you, and it says. We have previously noted that recent allegations of Russian hacking could mean that the Department of Homeland Security will be charged with protecting the presidential election in November. In fact, as Joe Joseph noted in his latest daily news update, the Department of Defense and U.S. military may be joining DHS, Department of Homeland Security, to ensure a fair electoral process. Coupled with previous reports that independent United Nations observers will be overseeing this year's vote, suggests there may be some legitimacy to the shocking claims you are about to read, or I'm about to read to you. Consider what might happen should a particular candidate be elected to the presidency, only to have the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense, or United Nations overturn the vote. And when we say particular candidate, we are, of course, referring to Donald Trump, with well over 50 million Americans supporting him for the presidency. If he were to win a decisive victory and then have that victory overturned because of national security issues, one can only imagine the outcry, protests, and riots to follow. So I'll take a little break here. What they're trying to say is that the UN might step in and overturn the election if we vote Trump in, which we're going to do. Everybody needs to get out there and vote for Trump. And again, wear red. Wear red something. Wear a red hat, a red shirt, a red tie, red pants if you've got them, red coat. Even if you have red gloves, anything, just wear something red. Everyone will know you're voting for Trump, and that's what we're going to do. So spread that around. Tell everybody you know. All right, so moving on to the story. The narrative has already been created at the very highest levels of America's political hierarchy, and it is not so hard to envision a scenario such as this playing out. Should such an event come to pass, would the transition be peaceful? According to a recent alert posted at stevequayle.com, the United Nations may already be preparing for such an outcome. And this is from that website. This does not come from a high-level source, just an everyday average Joe, but a guy that works in the same industry, that always gave a hard time about the tin hat stuff. Recently returned from a Great Divide concert at which a gentleman just passing by stopped to mingle with this group of people. They had a couple of drinks, and this guy states he likes America, he likes the people, he wished he could dance like the Americans. Laugh. He states that he had been fighting beside U.S. troops over the past 6 to 7 years, and this is why I feel I need to tell someone over here in the States a little something. He said he was from Norway, and he would be back in 3 to 4 months as part of UN troops. He said there was nothing he could do, but he felt compelled that he needed to say something, just to let such good people know what is coming. He said that they are going to be going door to door, taking guns or shooting to kill. They already had the lists of names and addresses. All right, so I'll stop right there. So what this is saying is somebody was talking to a guy from Norway, and he's obviously in the UN troops. He's a United Nations soldier, and he's saying that They are coming here 3 to 4 months, and that's going to be, the timing is right around the election, I guess. And they're going to be confiscating guns, according to the story. All right, going on to the story. I have no reason not to believe the words from acquaintance. It actually pretty much freaked him out. He is rather overwhelmed from the conversation, from his reaction, and as long as we've been acquainted, I have no reason not to believe what he was told. I just wanted to pass this on to someone with the means to possibly get the word out. So I'm going to read the rest of the story, but I'll just pause here and share this video, get it out there. We need everybody to hear this, just in case it's real. Is it real? I don't know. Could be. I've seen a lot of weird things with my own eyes. I've seen lots and lots of military equipment going down the tracks, on railroad tracks. Just crazy amounts. I've seen lots of military equipment being moved around, just even on the freeways here, and that's just in Minnesota. Now I know in Texas there's been long lines of military equipment going down railroad tracks. You can see it. Just go on YouTube. You'll see lots of videos of this military equipment out there. So something's going on. All right, back to the story. One of our observant readers from Texas submitted a similar comment recently. Okay, here's another comment from Texas. I just heard some really disturbing shit about something going on in Texas down here. I am sorry, but I cannot post it. All I can say is that Chinese soldiers have been inching their way closer to all the major cities, including Houston, Woodlands, Conroe, and other major cities, and our state government knows that we will be under attack between now and the next 3 to 4 months. A Chi-Com soldier just threatened someone that I know very well recently, and he's not happy about the incident. When Chi-Coms are telling Americans in my state where they can go from where they can't go, then we have a big frickin' problem. All the military equipment is here in Texas already, pre-positioned during Jade Helm 15 and 16, and the soldiers have already been placed in our state. And all they have to do is just go out, jump into the UN vehicles, and roll out to the major highways and deploy to neighborhoods. All over 2017 is when the civilians will be getting the worst of it. I know something is up because this link is matching up with what I am hearing. All right, Chi-Com is Chinese soldier. I'm not exactly sure what Chi-Com means. I know it's Chinese something. If you want to just go in the comments and just tell everybody what that means. Okay, so what they're saying is Jade Helm already moved a lot of the equipment in place, and now they're moving soldiers in, and this is saying the soldiers are already there. So anybody in Texas, and it makes sense in Texas because Texas has always been separatist, and they do things. They're just more patriotic there, I think, and they're ready to fight. And the government knows that. They know they're going to have a problem there, so they're going to have a lot of soldiers in place. All right, so reading the rest of the story. The UN and Chinese know already in advance that they will be rolling down Highway 45, Highway 290, 1960, Highway 6 from 45 north to deploy and take out these areas of subdivision. And one of the biggest major attacks by the UN and the Chi-Coms will take place between 1960 Highway 6 south down to Sugar Land. They plan to do the same thing on the Katy Manson Road area, Highway 10 area. Good luck when you get to that area. we have a very, very serious frickin' solution on the horizon. All right, so that's the story. That's the story from the guy in Texas. Now, on its face, such claims may sound as if they're coming from the very fringes of the internet, and perhaps they are. But before you dismiss these claims outright, keep in mind that it has been confirmed United Nations soldiers are actively involved in military training in the United States right now. Moreover, UN tank vehicles have been spotted moving across U.S. highways. Like I said, I've seen it myself right here in Minnesota, and there's been many videos of it all over YouTube. The United Nations have even tried to hide the fact that their soldiers and equipment have been deployed to the U.S., as evidenced by the following images. Okay, I'll put some images. I always show images on my videos, so go ahead and check out those images. I'll add as many as I can, showing how they are covering up the logos on their vehicles. So it looks like they're covering up the logos on the vehicles, the UN logos. So I'll see what I can do to find that. While it's impossible to know exactly what the United Nations is planning, in conjunction with sympathetic U.S. political leaders, we know for a fact that the UN troops are actively operating on our soil, and their equipment is already here, laying dormant for whatever orders were to come down the pipeline. If it turns out that the U.S. presidential election next month is taken over by the Department of Homeland Security amid claims of a cyber attack on the electrical grid, and is then overturned in favor of Hillary Clinton, then it could very well pass that the United Nations peacekeepers are activated to quell any disturbance or dissent. Now, I know that's pretty much the end of the story, but I know for a fact that United States troops, especially the ones in their own state, are not going to fire upon the people who live in their own state. It's their family and friends, and the evil factions of the government. Wait a minute, stop. Do you think, if you think I think all the government's evil, I don't. But there's factions of it. There's evil factions. There's the secret government that actually controls everything. I don't know who these people are. You can check out David Icke. He'll tell you some things. But I'm saying that there are factions that are evil. And it's not going to be good. If this really happens, it's not going to be good. Now, the UN troops, of course, will fire upon the people of the United States, most of them, because they're not from here. They don't have their family here. Their family's all over the world, so it's going to be easier for them to travel over here and shoot at us. So it's going to be nasty. Now, there was some comments here already. Let's see if I can find them. A bunch of people commented on these on the story, and here's one comment by Stolz Volkren. Please stop by Blue Helmets. I personally am looking forward to meet and greet the ones from IDF. So he's saying, yes, stop by Blue Helmets. I'll take care of you. Here's another one. A Colonel Robert F. Cunningham says, so am I. Been a while since I bounced around off a helmet, even in practice. And then Black Mo says, green tips should bounce off a blue helmet. And I think green tips are phosphorus, if I remember right. And then Nailbanger says, neither will a 175G gram SMK. That baby will punch right through. You look at the picture with all the blue helmets. That's what they're talking about. All right, it says, who WTF knows says, sounds like fun. Blue helmet shooting gallery to me. More chum for the Patriot preppers to food fight frenzy over. Remember, you dopes from other countries? There are now 2 rifles behind every blade of grass, and this is our land, like we know by the back of our hands. So kiss my blade, and when I run out of ammo, the bayonet goes on the rifle, and the hand-to-hand combat continues. Remember, guys and gals, shoot them in the neck or balls crotch area. Never let them procreate again. That's pretty funny. And what he's trying to say there is, in World War II, Admiral Yamamoto said, warned the Tojo that I've been to America, and if you try to invade America, there will be a gun behind every blade of grass. And he was absolutely right. Of course, they never did invade our homeland, but we would have been ready for them. And here's another one here. He also says, another guy with the same who WTF knows, he says, the premise here is if Hillary is selected, she will adopt the UN treaty for all gun confiscation and allow UN troops to go door to door in the U.S. Hillary is a sellout. Satori. Your guns will be taken away if Hillary is selected. At 3 a.m., the UN troops will knock on your door and drag you to a FEMA camp. If they find weapons, you failed to turn in as required by the Hildebeest. If Trump is elected, he will eject the entire UN out of the USA and kick the chaos makers and agitators out as well, or face prison if they fail to leave. I so want to see Hillary in jail. Hell yeah. And the MSM busted up into a million pieces. MSM, mainstream media, otherwise known as lamestream media. Million pieces, and hold them liable for lying their asses off, sued right out of business. We need to get back to truth in reporting, real investigative reporting, and no monopolies of the vast network will be tolerated again. Alright, so let's see what else is here. Bone Fortuna says, that's interesting. Except at 2:30 a.m. I will be sending most of them to hell in a body bag. Should they show up at 2 a.m., my neighbor will be killing them at 1:30 a.m. See how this works? And for each blue helmet, we get about 400 rounds of ammo. A real full auto assault rifle, armor, communications equipment, maybe a Humvee with a 50 cal. They will be sending just as many UN soldiers home to their native countries very shortly after they arrive. That is really funny. My dad was a World War II veteran, and he shot just about every gun there was, combat infantry. And he would drive in traffic in the 60s when I was a kid, and every once in a while he would say, when traffic was bad, he would say, boy, I wish I had a 50 cal strapped to the top of this car. So yeah, I'm very familiar with living with a combat veteran. And then Bob Smith says, blue targets matter. Oh, that's funny. Blue targets splatter. Okay. All right. Warchild, damn it, says, when the UN arrives to take over the U.S., and you are sitting in your known address at 3 a.m. with firearms, well, will you cut some slack as a fellow citizen? But damn, you better be a good shot or something. It's hard to read that one. Okay, Pops Ricks says, yep, headshots on the blue helmets. What more needs to be said other than keep your arms up to date on its zero. My police, etc. I will be back to the hilt. Foreigners parachuting in with blue helmets. May God have mercy on your souls. Our crosshairs are many and well trained. Yep, he's got that right. So it says, Heartless says, no, aim at their legs, knock them down, just keep firing. The carnage and injuries alone will slow them to ineffectiveness. Nothing say hello as good as these invaders than causing them to be screeching and rolling on the ground like a bunch of blue-headed worms on blacktop. Body armor, not an issue. Hard Kevlar wrapped helmets. No problem. Two Words says Red Dawn. Let's see. Let's see what else is there. Jake D says, "Hey guys, you don't have to bother stopping at my house. I sold all my guns. I promise." Funny. Let's see. Red Ryder BB gun. That's funny. Anonymous says, I hope they realize that we will be returning that shot to kill. I'm afraid we are going to have a hell of a bloodbath, and DC couldn't care less. So we defend our rights. And then he says, Nailbanger says, returning? More like preemptive strikes. And let's see. I'm trying to see what the other see. Braveheart 1776 says, I have for many years suspected that Russians and or Chinese will be part of any UN peacekeeping mission in the U.S. This can still happen in conjunction with other things. Not sure what he said there. Let's see what else we've got. The globalist Sarge says, the globalists plan to make America the headquarters of their NWO, New World Order. They plan to continue to use the U.S. military for their purposes of destabilizing the world, to bring the populace under subjugation. The Kenyan will use occupation forces if he thinks it will further the agenda of the elite. Obama to decide Friday on military action in Syria. Notice to the Kenyan and the rest of the globalists' elite. It will be a very cold day in hell with Satan singing Frosty the Snowman before Americans sit and comply with UN police forces on their own soil and give up their guns. Alright, so I'm going to read that one more time. Notice to the Kenyan and the rest of the globalist elite forces. It will be a very cold day in hell with Satan singing Frosty the Snowman before Americans sit and comply with U.S. police forces on their own soil and give up their guns. Well, I got to tell you that's my sentiment. And please like this video. Please share it. Please get it out there. And subscribe. I appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great week. And be prepared. Always be prepared.